The Dreadnest Project, Case File 8612, the Barrow Pines Incident. This file was never meant to be found. The markings are faded and the pages brittle, but the contents have been preserved in full. File 8612 refers to an unauthorized operation conducted by a now defunct sub-agency within the Department of Interior, known only as Division K. What follows is the official transcription of the Barrow Pines incident. The town of Barrow Pines, located deep in the wooded mountains of northern Vermont, was removed from all federal maps in 1978. At the time, the town had a population of 72 residents. By the end of the recorded incident, that number was 0. The earliest reference comes from a forestry surveillance log dated October 9th, 1978. Satellite imaging detected a sudden die-off of plant life within a 2-mile radius of the town center. Trees lost their leaves overnight. Rivers near the area stopped flowing. Wildlife migration patterns shifted away from Barrow Pines, forming a void zone that expanded daily. At first, the phenomenon was attributed to a possible underground chemical leak from a decommissioned Cold War storage site nearby. 2 field agents were dispatched to investigate. Their names have been redacted from the file. The agents entered the town on October 11th. What they reported initially seemed minor. Buildings intact, no signs of struggle. But there were no people. Doors stood open. Food sat on tables uneaten. Vehicles parked haphazardly, many still running. Radios left on but emitting only low-frequency static. Livestock lay dead in their pens, untouched by scavengers. The agents collected samples and began mapping the town perimeter, noting an unusual pattern of temperature inversion. Air closer to the ground measured colder than that higher up. This detail was later marked as significant. At 3:42 a.m. on the second night, both agents reported auditory phenomena, whispers with no source, sounds that mimicked footsteps directly behind them. Recording equipment captured low decibel frequencies that matched no known natural or man-made signal. By the morning of October 13th, 1 agent had vanished. The remaining agent transmitted a single data packet before all communication was lost. The packet contained 1 image, a photograph of the town's church steeple, now split in half as if by immense pressure from above. The surrounding air appeared warped in the image, as though light itself bent around the structure. A recovery team was deployed that afternoon. What they encountered was far from normal. The roads leading into Barrow Pines were now cracked in a radial pattern extending outward from the town center. Soil samples revealed a complete absence of microbial life. As the team crossed into the town limit, they lost GPS signal, and clock devices began to malfunction. The environment inside the town no longer followed normal physics. Shadows moved independently of their sources. Reflections in windows showed objects that were not present. Wind moved against itself. Team members began to suffer nausea, disorientation, and auditory hallucinations within 30 minutes. They found the church completely destroyed. Beneath its ruins was a tunnel descending into the earth. Though unrecorded on any structural plans, the tunnel walls were reinforced with metal unknown to any existing alloy database. The metal absorbed light rather than reflecting it. Instruments failed inside the tunnel. The team proceeded regardless. They recorded their descent using mechanical cameras, the only equipment that continued to function below ground. The tunnel extended for almost 1 mile, terminating in a spherical chamber 60 feet in diameter. The chamber contained no doors, no markings, no light source. Yet it was fully illuminated. At the center was a single object, described as a black stone, geometrically perfect, measuring roughly 3 feet high. and levitating 6 inches above the ground. The moment the team entered the chamber, all sound ceased. Their radios, footsteps, even their breathing became silent. One team member approached the object and immediately collapsed. Bio readings showed full cardiac arrest. Upon contact, the object caused rapid cell degradation. Attempts to retrieve the body were unsuccessful. The remaining team exited the chamber, but 2 more members began to suffer psychological collapse within hours. Reports mention screaming without cause, complete loss of identity, and catatonic states. Their minds had unraveled. The object was classified as Entity Theta Black. Division K was ordered to seal the tunnel and erase all evidence of Barrow Pines from public records. Residents were declared victims of an unknown viral outbreak. Satellite feeds were edited. Access to the area was blocked under the guise of a wildfire containment zone. Over the next 3 months, wildlife surrounding the town began to mutate. Birds flew in circular patterns until they dropped from the sky. Deer were found clustered together in fields, eyes removed, all facing the same direction. Surveillance drones recorded lights moving through the forest at unnatural angles. The lights did not reflect or emit heat. They flickered in patterns resembling Morse code, but translations were meaningless. By January of 1979, the void zone had expanded to a 10-mile radius. Atmospheric pressure dropped significantly. Barometric readings matched conditions at elevations over 30,000 feet. Attempts to bomb the chamber entrance failed. Explosives detonated prematurely or misfired. One detonation resulted in a tremor felt across 3 states. That event was disguised as a minor earthquake. No seismic fault exists in that region. The final note in file 8612 comes from a personal journal entry believed to be written by the last surviving agent assigned to the project. The page is smeared with what appears to be blood and is partially illegible. The legible section reads as follows: "It is awake. It was never meant to be found. We have fed it with time and memory, and now it remembers us. The shadows are its eyes, and we are all within reach. Burn the forest, bury the soil, never speak the name again." The page ends abruptly. No further entries were found. The Agent S body was recovered 3 days later in a bunker over 200 miles from Barrow Pines. Cause of death was listed as self-inflicted trauma, though no weapon was discovered. His eyes had turned completely black. No pigment, no visible pupil. To this day, the region surrounding Barrow Pines remains under restricted access. Radiation scanners placed around the area fail intermittently. Atmospheric monitoring has revealed fluctuations in magnetic fields consistent with gravitational lensing. The stars above the zone appear distorted. Civilian aircraft are diverted around the zone under permanent no-fly protocols. Wildlife cameras set up along the perimeter regularly capture images of people walking just beyond the tree line. These individuals match the profiles of residents who vanished in 1978. None have been found. No one knows what Entity Theta Black truly is, whether artifact, organism, or something else entirely. All theories remain incomplete. All attempts at contact have failed. The forest continues to grow darker. Each year, the trees push closer to the edge of containment. There is no warning, no sound, only the silent expansion of something older than language and patient enough to wait for another crack in the ground. Another town, another curious witness. You were never supposed to hear this. You were never supposed to read this file. If you live near Barrow Pines, move. If you have seen the lights, forget them. If you hear the voices, do not follow. If the wind stops moving where it always has, You are already being watched. The seal has weakened, the soil is bleeding, and whatever sleeps below is beginning to stir.